anybody has caught on, but our life has been interesting. So he got sober, and then all my problems went away, because he was my problem, right? He was the addict, and I just need my addict to get sober and I'll be fine. Not how that works. So John has been clean for 14 years. And I don't know what my problem is, because I'm still figuring this stuff out. And it took me a little while to realize that he wasn't my problem. I was my problem, and that there was some stuff that I needed to do to actually quiet my head and figure out who stays married to an addict for 13 years. Oh wait, sorry, there's probably a couple in the room. So I've been doing a new thing, because I worked in a job that was a little bit stressful. I loved my job. It was a really great job, actually. I had a fantastic job, and lots of notice that job was coming to an end. And towards the end, I actually didn't even really like that job. I had a million reasons why that job was giving me tons of anxiety and chest pain and all kinds of weird stuff that anxiety does to you. And so my job ended in October, middle of October, and I thought, like, oh, this is so great. I'm just gonna have all this free time, and I'm gonna really do some soul searching and just really learn more about myself. I've been on a learning journey along with John for the last 14 years, and so this is just gonna be a really great continuation of that. But I really didn't expect the level of inner turmoil that happened when my job actually ended. And I was left with this like gaping wasteland of time to think. And what I decided to do with some of that time, because we were arguing a lot, and this is really recent, guys. We were arguing a lot, and when the arguments are so stupid, nobody can figure out what you're even arguing about. Like, how did this even happen? And all I could tell you is it's the exact same argument over and over, which really boils down to, when we're in an argument, I don't like how you talk to me, and I understand completely that you really don't like how I talk to you. And why are we doing this to each other? Because literally our lives almost ended, and we came from a place of death and destruction to this amazing life. And so how can we still be doing this? And so in January, just after New Year's, I said to John, I need to get away. And we were so frustrated with each other that literally, as we were going away on this little mini vacation, I'm screaming at him, fine, then just stay home and I'll go by myself, like a normal human being does. Because that would be lots of fun. But we went anyway, and we were so frustrated with each other on the way, and wound up having a really, really good time. And after we came back, I started attending a group, a 12-step group, which I had been talking about doing and mulling over, and John had been gently encouraging me to do, which is always really, really helpful. When John gently encourages me to do things, I'm very receptive. So I have been going to a group called Codependency Anonymous. Not so anonymous when you're on stage and you know that your husband's going to put that on YouTube. But it's not a new concept for me. So 15, 16 years ago, when my husband would go to school for elevator mechanic training, which was literally the best career in the world dropped into his lap. He would go to school on Thursday night, and then it got to a point where he would come home on Monday morning. And maybe he would go to work and maybe he wouldn't. And so in that time frame of our lives when all hell was breaking loose, I started going to meetings, and I read a book called Codependent No More, which totally changed how I thought about things. And there's a tagline in there that says, or maybe I heard it at Al-Anon, I'm not really sure, or Nar-Anon, I went to them all. I was so desperate, so desperate for something to fix my husband that I literally did everything. And some of it actually kind of sort of worked on me. Because I don't know if you've been around or really close to anybody who's been in that kind of intense relationship with someone that they love so deeply, who is literally being destroyed. But it consumed me. My life consisted of nothing else except trying to figure out how to fix my husband. And I became at one point convinced that he was going to die. There was evidence, and he told me afterwards that he realized that he was actually trying to kill himself, and he doesn't understand, or he didn't really understand how come he wasn't able to kill himself with the copious amounts of drugs that he was ingesting. And so in the midst of that cycle, I heard this line that said, "When nothing changes, nothing changes." And something clicked in me, and I realized that I had been doing the same thing for 13 years, progressively getting worse, which is one of the traits of codependency, which even though I've known about this word for 15, 16 years, I still don't fully understand what it means. But one of the traits of codependency, and in our group, our goal is that we want to have healthy relationships. And so trying to learn more about myself and what it is about me that, I don't know, makes me grasp onto people so tightly. And when I was really in my really, really unhealthy phase, if you were not okay, well, mostly him, but if you weren't okay and I loved you, it also would affect me. And so if the people around me were not okay, I was not okay. The main traits for me that I identified with was caretaking, low self-worth, and it was actually a real kick in the pride, I guess, when I realized that all these things that I had been doing for all these other people my entire life, I thought I was being like really selfless and giving to all these people, and kind of realizing that actually I was doing it to feel better about myself. I was actually trying to elevate my self-worth by doing all these things for all these other people, and most of them didn't even ask me to do those things, and it was really, really frustrating and annoying when they weren't appreciative like I thought they should be, and like even sometimes a little bit resentful. That's like, come on, I did all this stuff for you. I don't understand why you don't appreciate it. So another trait that I strongly possessed was repression. And so everything was very, very, very deeply buried in me. I was not in touch with my feelings. And in fact, if you asked me what was wrong, and I told you nothing was wrong, but you could visibly see from my face and my body language that something was wrong, I actually meant it. Like, I didn't know that something was wrong. I'm not lying to you. I just am so completely unaware of my feelings because they're so deeply buried that I can't even be honest with you because I can't be honest with myself. I was completely obsessed with like everything external because nothing internal made sense and nothing internal was safe or peaceful or manageable. I was very controlling. I did not think I was very controlling. I thought I was very helpful, actually, very helpful. I don't see why you didn't appreciate the help that I was giving you. My brothers bring that up at like Thanksgiving dinners and Christmas dinners and stuff sometimes. It's really fun. How helpful I was. I'm the oldest of 4 children. Denial is a very, very strong codependent tendency, and dependency on other people, hence the name codependency. If poor communication and weak boundaries, that's a fun word. None of us really like to think about boundaries. And some of us think of boundaries as a really bad word, but I'm beginning to understand that, and I especially can see that in the beginning, I said I wouldn't tolerate certain things, and then slowly and gradually, my tolerance increased until I was experiencing and even participating in things that I said I would never, ever do or participate in or tolerate. I let other people hurt me. And then I kept letting other people, namely one person, hurt me over and over and over again. And then I wondered why I hurt so badly. And then I complained, I blamed, I tried to control. I finally got angry, very angry, like rage angry, and became completely intolerant. And there's a little bit of a drama triangle that came up in I'm rereading my book again, and I was reminded of this drama triangle of the rescuer, which was me. I totally, began to identify that I was totally the rescuer. I will jump in, but then I became the persecutor. And so, I'm all like into rescue. I'll go pick you up and I'll pay those bills, and then I will attack you and I will freak out on you. And I remember one time John saying to his buddy that he had brought home for some reason. He didn't usually do that, but he brought this person home, and I remember him saying, "Don't worry about her, she'll be fine in like 2 hours." I was totally fine. "Can I make you breakfast? Would you like me to make you breakfast? Is everything okay?" And then I might, when you pass out, roll you off the couch, kick you a few times, and steal all the money out of your wallet, because that's normal. So my drama triangle was the rescuer, the victim, and the persecutor, and I liked to rotate between those three people. So what I'm learning, I will quickly wrap it up because the buzzer went off, and so these tendencies are still coming up in little ways in my new life. I thought that my job was my problem, and before that my addict was my problem, and before that my family of origin was my problem, and right now I don't have, I'm the problem still. So real love says, you are having problems, I care, and I will listen, but I can't fix this for you. And real friendship says, I think so highly of you that I will listen and let you figure out how to do this for yourself. And I know you can, and I believe in you. And what I mostly want to end with is just to say, don't suffer alone. Because when I got out of my isolation and the place that I had buried me in, and I went to these crazy 12-step groups with people that were just whining, and I really didn't want to listen to them, and that really wasn't for me. But I just kind of got out of my when nothing changes, and then things began to change because I began to change.